Hello there, welcome to another episode of World of Tanks and Gainy Titan. As you can see, I've purchased the Panzer SFL 4C, which stands for something I can't really pronounce. I've looked it up, but can't quite remember it, and I know that I've tried pronouncing it several times and I stumble over it completely. So I'm going to call it the Toaster if I need to refer to it in the future. I think it's commonly referred to that in the World of Tanks PC. So what's it like? It's actually pretty decent little tank, but it is very much a glass cannon. It's kind of a DPM based glass cannon rather than alpha based. Now I'm going to speed up the start of the video here because not a lot happens. Murvanka is one of these difficult battlefields for a glass cannon type tank destroyer, because the place that has long lines of sight generally don't have cover and you get spotted, and the places that give you cover and won't get you spotted don't often have long effective lines of sight. This is one of the better locations on the southern side of the map for a decent line of sight, but it requires the enemy to come around the shoulder of the hills there and try and push forward, or else to come over the top, either the top of the main hill or come around the buildings at the back, but they have to get within render range, so the tanks that are spotted aren't visible to me because they're behind hills. However, if you bring this tank up closer to a spot where you will be seen, because it's not a terribly stealthy tank. You could probably take more risks with it if you had a very highly trained stealth crew, but I don't. I don't have much skills in the line in this tank. So we get Churchill there, and we don't actually manage to get any hits off him, but the gun is pretty decent. There's good long range penetration. Accuracy in the lower tier guns isn't great, but it's still workable. You can still hit targets at long range and you'll get decent amount of penetration. A lot depends, of course, on weak spots and angling and stuff like that, but we managed to put a shot there through the side of a KV-1. We have the side of a KV-1S, which isn't great in the line of armour. But we've put shots through the front of a Churchill, Churchill 3, and overall the tank, once you can get the gun going into action, it performs reasonably well. But if anybody sees this tank, it's going to be a priority target because people know that it's got a dangerous gun. And they also know that pretty much any shot they fire at it is going to hit. In fact, they could probably demolish this tank quite handily with high explosives without using armor piercing, because the armor is quite thin. All you're really relying on is your hit point pool. Now you can take a hit or two. The hit point pool is sufficient, but it's not enough to make this tank any kind of close quarter dogfighting tank. It takes a lot better player than the average player to do something like that with this tank, in my opinion. Maneuverability on sitting still is not too bad. Reverse is slow enough. Well, it's okay, but you can take a lot of hits if you're if you're pushed too far out. For instance, you push out past a building or something like that and you're trying to retreat and you're reversing, you're actually going to take quite a lot of hits. So it's one of these tanks that you might be better off considering your escape route moving forward rather than turning rather than an escape route moving into reverse, unless you're actually pretty close to cover. Reverse a lot of the times won't get you out of harm's way quickly enough. But keep the gun in action, keep the gun going, and keep the tank alive, so that the tank is alive in the latter end of the game when there's more opportunities to engage in long range, and there's less risk in doing it because there's a good chance that the scout tanks and stuff like that have been removed from the game. Definitely a tank that would benefit from as much stealth as you can give it. Now at this stage we're starting to prevail. It was kind of an odd battle in that nobody came through the middle much. The enemy would have had a golden opportunity because for a long time we weren't covering the centre of the map at all. We've managed to get up into the cap circle, and I think the remaining enemy tanks were all on this side of the map. A few of them went over to the eastern side of the map, but they were overwhelmed. And I'm just going to come up here to see if I can get some late game damage. We've already done a decent amount of damage with this tank. And since I've gotten the tank, I've actually played it with some of the other packages, and the guns just basically get better. They never become really high alpha hard hitting guns, but they have a rapid rate of fire and reasonably good handling, so that you can make effective use of this fire. So we've taken out the ram, heading for trying to sneak in one of the artillery, or possibly sneak into the cap circle. We have an M3 Lee trying to relieve pressure on his own, the enemy cap circle, and we're going to take him out because he's a sitting target. So that leaves an enemy heavy tank and a tank destroyer. And the tank destroyer pops up, and it's a T-67. He's making a run for it. So we're going to try and take him out before he gets out of into a position where he gets out of sight or anything. So we take out the T-67, and the heavy tank has also been taken out. So this game has been won. We've managed 10 penetrating ribbons, which is reasonable enough. So we did over 1100 damage. Second class mastery, we didn't do much in the line of assistance. It's not a tank that you're going to be spotting tanks in. If you're going to get assistance damage from this tank, it's because you're tracking people. But overall, I think it's a pretty good tank, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching, and I'll catch you again soon.